to episode 16 of On the Wild. I'm Riley Keenan here once again with Anuj Basker. It's an unconventional one. We're here on Zoom, but we got a very special guest, Sam Fleming. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. How's it going with you boys?
Doing good.
As well as you can be.
Yeah. So we met in high school, me and Sam did, specifically in Writers Craft in grade 12. That's when we really became friends. That was a super fun class. We've talked about it before on this podcast. I don't know how long you guys have known each other.
A lot of learning in that class.
Yeah, it was mostly just doing draft classes and writing lists about sports or
once a class, they had to come over and tell us to stop yelling at each other.
Yeah, we would just argue about like the stupidest sports debates. And then we went hard on Sporkle too. That was a big thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
We'd just be like NFL MVPs, and we all say who could fill it out faster. Man, that class was a blast. We were not there half the time though. I felt so bad for Anuj. Like we would have baseball and we'd be out of there for like a week.
That was the thing with that class though, is that I only knew you two. Like I didn't have any other friends in that class. So when you guys weren't there and you guys were at baseball, I was like, bro, I'm not doing anything in this class.
Didn't she like come up to you one time? She's like, where are they?
Yeah. It got to the point where you guys had so many like games where she was like, are they just ever going to show up or are they just...
I felt so bad because I liked her a lot too. She was a really nice teacher. She kind of just let us do whatever we wanted. Because like in Writer's Craft, it's just like you just be creative, do whatever you want to write. Because it got to a point where it's like I would tell her or I'd email her. But then it's like, you know what? I've been gone like the last 2 weeks. I'm not even going to bother.
No point.
She taught my sister last year, I think, and she like just disappeared halfway through.
I heard about that. Yeah, that's what Noah was saying too. Because Noah was like, because he was going back and he's like, yo, what should I take? I was like, take Writer's Craft. It's so much fun. And he was like, this class is hell, man. I can't do this. And he's like, yeah, she's not even here. I'm like, where is she? He's like, I don't know. She disappeared.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you guys met each other through sports, right?
Yeah.
Hockey and baseball.
Was it hockey or
I couldn't even tell you what the first team was, but
yeah, like
I knew you by the time I got to high school.
Yeah. Sure. Like you could see
did you ever play on a select team?
No, I played house league like a year older, and then I went up to rep.
I think it was AA with Mark Ferniciero.
Yeah, we had De Janeiro. That team was nice.
That was a fun team. Remember we watched Sinister and we just crapped our pants in the hotel room?
Yeah, we watched it on my iPad in my hotel room. There was like 12 people in there, and we were all like so terrified. And I think we went to see the second one like a year later.
Yeah,
and we
Josh Wood.
Yeah, we were buzzing. I remember I hadn't seen the trailer for the movie, so everyone kind of knew like what the first scene was going to be, like the jump scare, but I hadn't seen it.
None of that.
Yeah, I like screamed louder than I've ever screamed in my life. I was so embarrassed.
But I don't think there's anything funnier than like 12 preteen boys screaming at a jump scare on an iPad. You know?
Yeah, legit. Man, I want to be able to go back to movie theaters, man. Like there's going to be so many good movies coming out soon.
I know. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I suck with horror movies, though, on the topic of horror movies. You know, Riley.
Oh, yeah.
We went to see It too. Sam, we went to see It too. I literally, they stepped on a stick, on a twig, and it snapped. I jumped out of my seat.
And I don't even think it was like supposed to be like a false
it wasn't.
Scare. Like it was literally just someone stepped on a stick and that's what happened. And he was like,
and I was on the end. We saw it with a couple other people and I was on the end. So there was like a random person beside me. I was like, I am so sorry. Like I suck with this.
Yeah. Dude, was it you when we went to go see the second Sinister movie who one of us got scared and threw popcorn over like 8 people at one point?
Either me or Ross. I feel like it could have been Ross too.
Probably Ross. Ross would do.
But man, I am so easily scared in horror. Like I like horror movies, but I have to watch them with other people. If I'm watching them alone, I'm gonna have nightmares.
Dude, Ella always wants to watch horror movies with me, and then she'll pick like the worst one ever that's not scary at all and like lose her shit. And I'm like, what?
I can't do the cringy horror. Like it has to be like a decent story. Like if it has jump scares, I'm about it. But if it's like, you know, like there's weird horror movies out there.
The ones that like just screw with your head are
like the
thrillers, but also the ones I enjoy the most. Yeah.
Yeah, like Scream. Like that's not much like I guess it is horror, but it's more like a thriller kind of vibe. Like the stuff that
like I feel like that's just harder to make than like a jump scare movie.
Yeah, because first of all, like not knowing who the guy is or the girl is or what their story is, like that makes it so interesting. But yeah. we came in here. We were going to talk about the NHL playoffs because they're starting on Saturday. Really weird because Vancouver and Calgary are playing like 3 more games, which is
Saw that.
Yeah, like I get it. Like you want to finish the schedule, but it's kind of weird that like they're delaying other games. Like I think the Leafs first game is like on the 20th.
And neither of those teams made the playoffs, did they?
Yeah, no, they're both
I think they
pretty
just
far out.
Like get their money's worth out of the players.
Yeah, I mean Vancouver, I'm kind of scared, man, because they're a good team. Like Pettersson's been out for the year. They've had a couple other guys in and out of the lineup, and they're going to get a top pick. They're going to get a lottery pick, and I don't even think they're a lottery team. So I'm really scared for them in the future.
Are they keeping this format going forward?
I don't think so. I think as soon as COVID like subsides, as soon as Canadian teams can travel to America and vice versa, I think they're going to go back to regular. Okay. What I really hope is that they don't do the old playoff format where it's divisional like teams playing. I just want them to do 1-8, 2-7, 3-6. Like it's so much more interesting. Bro. Like I get the rivalry aspect, like, oh, you want, Pittsburgh to play Washington. At the end of the day, it's going to happen. Like the teams are good no matter what. You're going to get the matchups you like.
The good teams are going to eventually play each other.
Exactly. Yeah. And just like as a Leafs fan, like constantly having to play Boston we never actually had to play Tampa because we never made the second round, but like, it's just so annoying every year. You're like, oh, I got to play the same team. But this year we got the new format. Start off with the East Division here. Sam, your Pittsburgh Penguins, the first seed, are taking on the Islanders. What do you think?
I think our chances are pretty good, assuming we learned our lesson from 2019, where we kind of just tried to like play run and gun against the Islanders, which is maybe the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
And our defense is a lot better than it was that series. So
yeah, Marino has been really nice with that team. But if it's anything like 2019, if the Islanders are coming in buzzing, playing fast and aggressive, I'm honestly scared for the Penguins. They really need to match the energy. But
they also don't have Anders Lee, which is
big for us. That's huge. He's their captain. He's a great leader. But like at the end of the day, Penguins got Crosby. Malkin's back. He's going to be a big player in this series. I think Pittsburgh takes it in 7, but I think it's going to be really tough. Listen, the Islanders have had great goaltending this year too. So the Penguins have struggled with that in the past, but I think they squeeze it out.
I think Malkin and Tristan Jarry are basically what it depends on for the Penguins.
Yeah. It's weird, like having Matt Murray not be the guy, because like it's kind of like I feel like it's kind of like the Leaf situation where they're going to roll with Campbell, but like they're kind of using it as like, hey, fuel to the fire.
I feel so bad for Matt Murray. Just win 2 Stanley Cups as a rookie, lose it, and then now you're playing in Ottawa, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh man, what do you think, Anush?
I got Penguins in 6. Because they dominated the season series. They played 8 times. They won 6. Of those 8 games, they have Sidney Crosby. He's won 3 cups. He's one of the greatest players ever. So,
yeah,
I got Pittsburgh.
Agreed. What do you guys think? Like, if Crosby were to win a cup this year, what do you think the narrative on his career is going to be like compared to some of the other greats?
I think he's already kind of top 5, but I guess there's some people that would debate that. But
yeah,
I think if you factor in like the styles of hockey that were played during, like the top 5 right now would be what Crosby, Gretzky, or Howe and
Lemieux. Yeah,
I think if you factor in like even look at the goalie pads, go look at the goalie pads from when Gretzky was playing, and look at the one today, and tell me that it was harder to score goals back then.
And back then, there wasn't as much butterfly goalie. A lot of it was stand-up or hybrid. Nowadays, the goalies are flying around everywhere. They got crazy equipment. And they're just like, obviously technology's improved, so players naturally are going to look better. But I genuinely think like the competition is tougher these days. There's a lot more people coming from all walks of life, like Finland, Sweden, like the US is crazy now. Like back then it was Canada, it was the Soviet Union. Like you knew who was coming into the league a lot. Now it's very different.
I feel like that's with all sports. Like players just naturally get more skilled as we go on in time.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the NFL, for example, I think players are a lot more skilled than they were in the 80s.
Ain't wearing leather helmets no more.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't think guys ever played scared back then. Like they were tough, badass guys. But like nowadays, like with the improved equipment, like you can feel a bit more free and safe in making a juke rather than back then you might, just kind of take the hit.
You also used to just get severely concussed, and they'd be like, "Walk it off."
Yeah, exactly.
My bell got
Nowadays,
rung.
like there's safety precautions. Sometimes
Yeah.
I think it's a little too much. Sometimes I think they
Yeah.
take guys out when they don't necessarily need to. But with all this stuff like CTE and all that stuff, like you have to do it. Like
And
with the head at least.
I don't think players are softer either. It's just more safety is being
Yeah.
taken, which I think
Yeah.
should be the
Just we're
case.
aware of how soft human beings actually are.
Yeah.
When looking at the NBA, though, me personally, I think they're pretty soft. And I don't think it's necessarily their fault because the refereeing has allowed it to happen. They call like a lot of bad calls. But at the same time, like these guys are huge and they try to act so tough, but then they'll get like a finger to the face and they'll go down, like pretend like they just got smacked in the face. Or well, they did get smacked in the face, but like they pretend like they got shot. Like these guys try to act tough outside of basketball, but it's like apparently all I have to do is poke you in the face to hurt you. So like I don't understand that like toughness that they kind of bring off court.
Primarily hockey fan, the fouls in the NBA just drive me insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest reason I don't watch basketball very much.
Literally. Like the other night, like Justin Hall gets hit in the face by a puck. He's bleeding. A next shift, Rasmus Sandin goes face first in the boards. Both of them are back 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
And the NBA, like these guys are out for the game. Like guys get like Paul Pierce, guy gets a cramp and he goes to the back. Like,
imagine the damage Zdeno Chara could do in the NBA.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of Zdeno Chara, the second series in that division, the Capitals are taking on the Bruins. What do you guys think?
I got Capitals in 7. They split the season series. Capitals won the cup a couple years ago.
Yeah, against Vegas.
Yeah, Boston's always been like a really good playoff team while I've been watching hockey, I guess. I don't watch that much hockey. I do every now and then. But yeah, I'm gonna take Washington in 7. I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I think it could go either way realistically. Both teams can turn it on in the playoffs like nobody else. I think losing Krug was really detrimental to Boston in the offseason. McAvoy stood up in his absence. And Marchand's had an MVP like season. Bergeron and Pasternak are playing as per usual. But Washington, I think with Ovi healthy, with the goaltending that they've had this year, I think they take it in 7, but it's going to be extremely close.
Yeah, I got Caps in 6, I think, just because they're a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier. Zdeno Chara playing against his old team. That's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be fun and weird at the same time.
Hilarious to watch him just ragdoll Martian.
Yeah, I would love that. Imagine they fought or like he fought someone on their team. Like that would be so much
That's
fun.
the thing, though. Like, who can fight Tom Wilson or Zdeno Chara on?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think that Boston. You said it before, like we started filming. Like Boston's always been that physical team, but I think Washington now, like with guys like Tom Wilson, they're gonna be overly physical to Boston. They're gonna out hit them.
I think Washington's biggest weakness is they're not very fast, but they do, as a result of that, have the size and the strength to play the Bruins pretty well.
Yeah, and picking up Mantha at the deadline was huge. He's been really good for them. He's been really good on the left side. I see Washington squeezing it out, but it's going to be tough. I think this is the series to watch in the first round.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and then moving on to the Central Division, the Canes were the number 1 seed. They're taking on the Predators. Who are you guys taking?
I have Carolina in 5.
5? Yeah, like no like disrespect to the Predators. They're a good team. They got great defense. Scoring struggles a bit, but the Canes are so good. Like they're so deep. Their defense is crazy. Goaltending's been solid. Sebastian Aho and Svechnikov are gross. Like I see this game, or I see this series just ending in a sweep, to be honest with you.
I got to say, it's kind of unfortunate that the Predators are in the playoffs and the New York Rangers aren't, because I think the Rangers are definitely better than the Predators are.
Yeah.
I think the Canes are just going to blow the doors off.
For sure. Yeah, they could make a deep run. It's going to be super interesting. This is the division that I think will have the most competition in the playoffs. I mean, you look at the next game, we got Panthers and Bolts, like both teams, like championship DNA with the Lightning. Kucherov, we don't really know if he's playing or not. He's been out for the year, but it's a weird situation.
Dummy cat move.
Yeah,
I read that he's gonna play. Most likely, he's gonna play. Him and Stamkos.
Okay.
So
they just held him on. I think he could have come back to play like 2 weeks ago, but they kept him on long-term injured reserve so that they didn't have to. They could bring on more players so they're at the cap, and then once it dissolves because it's the playoffs, they can just throw Kucherov in there and they're like what, 8 million over the cap at that point.
Yeah, they kind of
They
do.
finessed.
They kind of did what the Warriors were doing with Curry last year. Like, I feel like he could have come back a lot earlier than he did, and I think he wanted to, but the team's going, hey, like, we want a lottery pick, like, we'll let you back like at the end of the season.
There was just no point in bringing him back and risking that, like re-aggravating it or whatever. So
actually, remember the year Patrick Kane broke his collarbone? Blackhawks did the same thing with him, man.
Yeah. I mean, like, from a managerial perspective and from a coaching perspective, I think it's the right move. You're looking for the longevity of your player and you're looking ahead to the next season. But in terms of the individual, like if you're Patrick Kane, if you're Steph Curry, if you're Nikita Kucherov, I want to play. Like, I'm one of the best players in the world. I want to be in the lineup. I want to help my team win. And you kind of see with like the Eichel situation with the injury, like he's not necessarily getting to choose what he wants in his future. So it's a thin line to walk. And it's kind of tough, but I feel like it's more about the individual, and they should.
Buffalo had one guy going for them, and now he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah, like that organization, man. Like they got 2 first overall picks. They get Ristolainen, who's great on paper. Their team's great, but they just can't produce. They can't stop him. I mean, when Leonard was there, I remember in goaltender, like I'd watch him play the Leafs. I'm like, this guy's gross, but his stats don't look that good. And then as soon as he left, like he's a Vezina contender.
He also sucked at shootouts. That's so weird.
Oh, yeah, true.
He's just terrible at shootouts, but he's a good goalie.
Yeah. But yeah, like we were talking a bit about it, but like Lightning Panthers, who do you guys think comes away with this series?
I have Lightning in 6 games. Because Kucherov and Stamkos are playing, I'm assuming those guys are playing. I got the Lightning in 6 games. They obviously won last year in the bubble. And yeah, that championship DNA sort of thing. I got the Lightning.
Yeah, if Kucherov and Stamkos play every game, I think it's 6 games. If Kucherov's out of the lineup or in and out, I think it goes 7, because the Panthers are deep, and the Sam Bennett pickup at the deadline was tremendous. Was like a huge move for them. He's been great since leaving Calgary. But like you said, Nuge, like coming off a win last year, and Hedman, like I think he's the best defenseman in hockey. Vasilevsky, I think, takes away the Vezina this year. If not, he's the runner-up. They're so deep. It's going to be super tough for the Panthers, but it's going to be a really interesting series.
I got Bolts in 7 too. I think like the Panthers have great forwards and they're deep, but I think there's a pretty decent difference between Tampa's goaltending and defense compared to Florida.
Yeah, and Florida's goaltending is a bit up in the air, because you can go with a $70 million man in Bobrovsky, or you can go with the hot hand Dreiger. Both are.
Bobrovsky returns to what he used to be, then it's a little bit closer. But
yeah, if he can be like what he was in, like with Columbus, they're going to be in a good spot. But in the playoffs, he's known to kind of dwindle a bit and struggle a bit. But I think this year may be the year he steps up. But man, this series, like just like the Bruins and the Capitals, is going to be one to watch. And then we move on to the West Division. We got the Avalanche, the President's Trophy winners, taking on the St. Louis Blues. What do you guys think?
The Avalanche in 6 games. I love Nathan McKinnon. He's probably one of my favorite players. Yeah, I got Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. Alone. Yeah, I think they win in 6 as well. McKinnon is, in my opinion, the second best player in the NHL behind McDavid. And like they got the top 3 1-2 punch in the league with Rantanen, and he had a crazy year as well. And Grubauer, he's a Vezina contender. Like they're so deep and they got so many options with that team. I don't see them losing to the Blues, but the fact that the Blues have been there before, they got a lot of great defensive forwards as well, and they're good defense. However, like losing Pietrangelo was huge for them. Like that was so tough.
We're just gonna replace him with Justin Falk and hope nobody noticed.
Yeah, and like the Torrey Krug signing was great, but I mean Pietrangelo is just heads above. Like he's one of the best defensemen I've ever seen, and a leader too. But yeah, this series is going to be super interesting, but I think the Avs take it.
Yeah, I think the Avs are just a better, deeper team.
Yeah.
Cale Makar is so gross.
Yeah, that guy, rookie of the year last year, one of the fastest players I've ever seen. And he's just got an eye for the game, too. He seems so smart, and defensively, like he knows what he's doing.
That guy skates like Picasso paints. Just beautiful to watch.
Facts. Man, I love watching that team. It's going to be super interesting. And in the other game, the Vegas Golden Knights, who just as well could have taken that first seed, they're taking on the Minnesota Wild, who Finally, some excitement in Minnesota. Kaprizov is looking great. He's probably winning Rookie of the Year.
Dollar Bill Kirill.
Yes, sir. Who do you think is going to take this series?
I got Vegas. I don't know how many games though. I'll
Yeah.
go 6.
Initially, I
that's-
was thinking like a clean sweep for Vegas, but then I look at the season series, like the Wild won. The Wild won, I think, 5 of the 8 games they played against each other. But when it comes to playoff time, like I think Vegas is the best team in the NHL. I think they're the deepest team in the NHL in terms
It's
of
crazy
goaltending.
how good they are so fast
Yeah, like
for an expansion
Their
team.
owner said we're gonna win a cup in like the next 5 years, like before they had made the team, and everybody laughed at them, and now
yeah, they've
Flat
done
out
incredible.
reality.
Honestly, one of the best like managerial rooms I've seen ever, just in terms of coming into the league, making an instant impact. No one expected them to make the finals, and they put up a fight to Washington. They lost in 5, but like that Washington team was stacked, and they were looking for vengeance after losing to Pittsburgh 4 times. Like that was a tough situation, but yeah, Vegas, I think they win in 6 because Minnesota, they're scary.
I think Minnesota is like underrated to most people. I think they play really well defensively, and they got a couple weapons, but I would say they could shock someone, but probably not Vegas.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like if they were playing anybody else besides Vegas or Colorado, I think they could take it because they're yeah, just like you said, they're extremely underrated. But like with the position they're in, it's super tough. But they'll be good. They'll be a great team in the future.
Yeah.
Looking down to the North Division, where my Toronto Maple Leafs are taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Give me your thoughts, boys.
Leafs in 5. They dominated in the regular season. And yeah, I think they just have a better team. Like Austin Matthews is crazy. He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's probably he's probably the best scorer in the NHL. Is that like a known thing by now?
I would bet my house on like him scoring a goal over anybody else in the league. Like just the way he'll have a bad game, and like they played Ottawa the other night. He didn't play well, and then like 3 minutes left in the game, down by 1, the guy just fires a puck in the net and buries it. It's like he's kind of like McDavid, where he can just make something happen out of nothing in a very different way. McDavid uses his speed and utilizes it. Matthews more of like a defensive minded, just fire the puck at the net.
But man, like just a missile launcher out there.
Yeah, he's exactly like I've said it before. Like he's like Ovechkin to me in a weird way, that he can just stand in a slot and pinpoint it. Yeah. But this is the first time they've played in a playoff series since 1979. It's debatably one of the greatest rivalries in sports. I think the Leafs take it in 6. I want to say 5, but I like knowing the Leafs in the playoffs, they're going to lose a couple games just because of lackluster effort. And the big thing to me in this series is if Carey Price plays, it's extremely scary. And even worse, if Gallagher's there, his impact is massive. If anyone's
going to rob a series, it's going to be Carey Price.
Exactly. He's been known to do it before. He did it last year. And Gallagher too, like his physical presence just makes the team more energetic. And when a team comes in physical against the Leafs, I get scared. But that's why I think those Wayne Simmons and Nick Foligno pickups were so massive for them. And they're going to help them in the playoffs. I got Leafs in
6. I hope the Habs don't play Eric Gustafsson, because he's like one of the worst defensemen I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know why he's still in the NHL.
He's dirty too.
It's like they'll give him credit because they'll say he's like a smooth skater. He is a smooth skater, and you can watch him skate smoothly after all the people he left behind him on breakaways. But yeah, I don't like him at all. I think the Leafs will feast on him if he's playing.
Yeah. Who do you think the Leafs run in goal? Do you think they go with Campbell or Anderson?
Probably Campbell, just to ride the hot hand. I don't know what happened to Anderson. Is that like a Matt Murray situation?
It honestly is. Like it's the same thing as Matt Murray in terms of like, let's give this guy a back seat. Let's let someone else get. It's kind of like Fleury too. Like when he started struggling, let's let the young guy go and see what he can do.
Didn't Anderson get hurt?
Yeah, he got hurt, but like prior to him getting hurt, everyone knew like this guy is not playing good hockey. Like you're on the first place team in the North, and you're not even top 10 in the league, and in any statistical stat besides wins, like that's not okay.
I read think that he had a sub 900 save percentage in the NHL and the AHL.
Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, he played brutal in the AHL. I think like 28% of the goals he gives up are 5-hole. It's like put your stick on the ice, man. Like it's ridiculous. And even like watching that game against Ottawa.
Sorry, when you did that, you said the exact same thing when you did your rant. Like I forget what episode it was, but That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
He pisses me off, man. Like I just watch him and it's like, man, like his side to side, like his against Ottawa the other night, they go to overtime. Marner coughs up the puck, makes a brutal play. They go down on a 2-on-1. Kachuk's got the puck on the left side all the way over on the dot, and Anderson's playing the shot, and he passes it over, boom, one timer, they win the game. It's like, how have you been in the league this long and not know you played the guy on the offhand that's going to get the one timer? Like, it's just, to me, it's so simple, but he struggles. I think they ride with Campbell. He's been great for them. He's a lot faster in goal, and he's like, everyone loves him, man. Like, he's one of the nicest guys in the league.
We didn't even touch on Vegas. They have 2 goalies better than most teams starting goalies.
It's absurd. I wish he could get one of them. Like Fleury, his comeback from playing on Pittsburgh, struggling a bit, and now on Vegas, just dominating. And then Leonard too. We talked about him. Like Vegas has just done such a good job growing their players. I really want to like see what their coaching staff is doing, because it seems like a guy walks in the door there and they become a much better player than they ever were. Like you look at Mark Stone, guys like that too. Like it's crazy.
The Patriots.
Yeah. And then moving on to the last series in the first round, the Edmonton Oilers take on the Winnipeg Jets. What do you guys think?
I think the Oilers got it. They have the best player in the NHL.
Yeah.
And debatably another top 5 player in Draisaitl.
Yeah, I'd put him top 5.
Top 5. Dominated the season series. I keep going back to that, but I feel like with this format, yeah. But yeah, I think they'll have the 2 best players on the ice. So I'll take Edmonton in 6.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me about this series is Hellebuck, because he's been standing on his head all season. He won the Vezina last year. I think he's a top 3 goalie in the NHL, in my opinion. But like you said, they got McDavid and Draisaitl. That's the game changer for me. And then Tyson Barrie's had a massive comeback season after his lackluster play with the Leafs last year. Darnell Nurse has taken a huge step up. I like Edmonton a lot. I think they win in 5. What do you think, Sam?
I think I'm going to say Edmonton in 7. So I apologize to our friend Gavin.
Ooh.
But I think, to be honest, I don't really like many people on the Oilers except for McDavid and Draisaitl. I think a lot of their games McDavid and Draisaitl have to outscore the rest of the team's problems. And I think
very top heavy.
That if they can't do that, because Hellebuck's playing crazy, that gives the Jets a good chance. I think Neil Pionk's an underrated defenseman, but I mean, he's still playing against McDavid and Draisaitl, so what can you do? But I also think they have a lot of good forwards that will do some damage against Edmonton's D. Kyle Connor's really good.
Yeah, Nick Ehlers is going to be back.
Wheeler.
Yeah.
It's
going to be an exciting series. The only reason I think it could go short is just based, like you said, like on the season series, Edmonton did dominate, but Winnipeg, like every year in the playoffs, to me, they've been like a contender, and they've kind of fallen away or made a mistake at the wrong time, and it's just been tough for them. I don't think this year's their year. I think next year coming in, that's going to be their real chance to win.
Like, I think if you look at last season, like nobody had the Blackhawks beating the Oilers, but because Draisaitl and McDavid couldn't outscore the rest of the team's issues, they went down.
That's true. I think they're really going to need to have a defensive presence in this series. They can't be too focused on offense all the time, because offense is going to come naturally. If you're 2 top 5 players in the league, you don't have to worry about how you're going to produce. I think what matters is keeping the puck out of your net. But seeing as we went through all the first round series, I want to know what you guys, who are you taking to win the Stanley Cup if you had to put money on it?
That's a tough one.
I'd probably have Vegas and Carolina as my picks for the Cup final. And between them, I'd probably say Vegas. It's because you usually, once you get to the Cup final once, you usually get better luck the next time around.
Yeah, I'm going with Vegas to win the Cup. Like we talked about before, they're just so deep. Their goaltending is incredible. If one guy struggles, they got another guy to come in, no problem. Offense has been great. They're a scary team, and I want to say Toronto, but I just don't think they're there yet, even though their defense has improved a lot. Avalanche, I think, could take it. Pittsburgh, maybe, but I think Vegas is like the safe pick.
Yeah, I always want to say Pittsburgh, but just to be safe, I never pick them.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, because Colorado and Vegas would have to play each other, right? They're in the same division.
Second round, yeah. That's going to be a
I think
barn burner.
whoever wins that, I think wins the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
because I don't know who wins that, but
yeah, that series is going to go down to the wire.
I'll go Colorado. Nathan McKinnon.
That's a good pick too. Because like whoever wins that series is going to have played the biggest competition already, so they're going to be ready for every challenge that faces them from then on. And like with Vegas, if they were to be the winner, like they beat the Wild, who are great defensively, they beat Colorado, who are dominant offensively. They've already went through the ringer, so I think that whoever comes out of there, I think will take it.
I think the top four are probably Vegas, Colorado, Carolina, and Tampa.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably going to be another team that just gets hot at the right time and beats one of those teams. But
yeah,
I think those are four to beat right now.
I'm also curious to know your MVP picks, because it obviously seems like McDavid's first guy to score 100 points in 56 games since like Lemieux and Yager in the 90s, which is absurd. Do you think McDavid takes it? Because there's a serious argument for, I'd say, McKinnon, Matthews, and Crosby. I think all three of those have solid arguments, but what do you think?
We're talking regular season MVP, right?
Yeah, regular season MVP.
See, my thing with the Hart is that it's not the best player in the league. It's the most valuable player in the league. And Crosby has a good argument, I think, because he kind of carried the team for a while when Malkin went down.
Yeah.
And my thing against McDavid would be he's also playing in the North Division, which doesn't have the greatest defenses in the league. And I also feel like they would have done more or less the same in that division. Well, not the same. They obviously do better with McDavid, but Draisaitl could have done a good job as well.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think the Flames and who else missed the playoffs in that division?
Ottawa.
Yeah, like Ottawa probably wasn't going to make the playoffs, whether Edmonton had McDavid or not. But he's certainly the front runner, I'd say.
Yeah, like McDavid is the best player in the NHL. And like you said, the Hart Trophy is about who's most valuable. And I want to say it's McDavid, because you take him out of the lineup, they might struggle, but you did it last year and Draisaitl was able to win the Hart himself. So you got the two top scorers in the league that it's like, okay, is he really the Hart winner if he's got the guy who's second? But then the next person I think too is Matthews, because like 40 goals in 50 some odd games is absurd. But he's got Marner there as well. So that's where I kind of lean, and I want to think McKinnon as well. Rantanen's right there. Like that's where I think like Crosby, as much as I'm a diehard Crosby fan, like I could seriously see him taking the award, because like you said, Malkin's been in and out, and even when he was in the lineup, he was struggling.
Yeah.
But I think it's McDavid. I think McDavid deserves it, because 100 points in 56 games. Like, are you kidding me? That's crazy.
It's almost 2 points.
I want to vote for Crosby because like diehard Crosby fan, but for bias purposes, I'm gonna go with McDavid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with McDavid as well. I think the one argument you can make for Crosby, I think Riley, you kind of touched on it. I'm looking at the points leaders. Each of the candidates you mentioned, except Crosby, have another teammate in the top 10 in points, except Crosby.
And for the Penguins to come in first in that division too is huge. Like McDavid, he comes second in debatably the worst division. The Leafs take it, so that like Matthews gets a little bit of an edge there. But to come first place in the division with the Capitals, with the Bruins, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Flyers, like that's absurd. So there's a valid argument for everybody, and I would not be disappointed if any of the four were to take it, to be honest.
It's the other thing I'd say that's kind of against Crosby is that while Malkin was out, I think people also really underrate Crosby's wingers, Gensel and Rust, because even when he's not in the lineup, they produce pretty well and they're pretty solid all around. Obviously they're not Mitch Marner or Mikko Rantanen, but I do think they don't get the credit they deserve.
I think it's the best line Crosby's ever had, because like Dupuis and Kunitz was a great line, but he really did kind of make their careers. Whereas Gensel, like he's always had that scoring touch, so he's able to produce for himself. And Russ, just the guy works his ass off.
Do everything.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the next Team Canada, if they let NHL players go. The top two lines would be Crosby, Bergeron, and Marchand, which was nasty at the World Cup. And then maybe the nastiest line I've ever seen, McDavid, McKinnon, and Mitch Marner.
Yeah, like M and M. Like If that was a line, I don't see how anybody stops them.
If I was a defenseman playing against those three, I'd literally, I'm changing.
Yeah, it's like three of the fastest players in the league, three guys that are a step ahead of everybody else. Like they're going to be, I would love to see what they could do together because they're all going to be on the same wavelength of where they are. I wonder who plays center there though. Would it be McDavid or McKinnon?
Are they both the same handedness?
No, McKinnon's right. David left.
They'd probably just have whoever's on their backhand take it in each situation because it's easier to win on the backhand.
Fair enough. I'd probably put McDavid on the left side just because like the speed he has. And then like if he's not going into the corners as much working for the puck, he can save his energy and he can just bust down the ice like nobody's business. But yeah, like what a stacked team. I really hope the Olympics come back for hockey because there's so many contenders now. Like Finland's great, Sweden's great. The USA are going to be super interesting. I want to see Matthews and Kane play together.
The US's D is going to be better, but Canada's going to have like one of the best groups of forwards ever.
Ever, yeah. It's going to be like when Lemieux and Gretzky were playing together, like just absurd. All right, to finish off the show, we're going to do guest trivia as per usual. The first question I have for you, Sam, we talked about it a bit. You're a big Sporkle guy. We used to run a lot in high school. So I want to ask you, who are the top 4 point getters in Pittsburgh Penguins history? If you can get all 4, I'll give you half point. If you can get them in order, I'll give you the other half.
Is this points per game or total points?
Total points as a Pittsburgh Penguin.
Total points. Ooh, that's
or in the regular season.
In the regular season.
Yeah.
Crosby and Lemieux. I think Crosby passed him just because he's played more games, but he might still be behind him. There are definitely 2 of them. Do I have to pick who's definitively the first?
Yeah. To get the full point, yes. But I'll give like half if you can get it, just the 4.
I'm going to say Sid and then Lemieux and then Gino and Yager.
You got all 4 right. Lemieux has more points than Crosby as of now. He could potentially pass him, but it'd be tough.
He played like so fewer games too. He's just a man.
Yeah. He lost out on his prime too. Like that. Oh man, that season where he got the concussion. He would have won the Hart, the Rocket, and probably the Cup.
That was the highest points per game of his career.
Yeah, I think he was on pace for like 60 goals, like 130 or 40 points. Like
that would have been his McDavid season.
Mm-hmm. It's weird though, because like everyone talks about like McDavid being like better than Crosby at this point, but I'm pretty sure Crosby has better points per game, and I think
he just passed him with this season.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
he only had like 3 more points than he did though.
Yeah, they're pretty comparable, but yeah.
So moving on to movies for question 2, specifically Marvel movies. Going back to Writer's Craft really, because we always used to do this.
We used to rank the Marvel movies.
Yeah. But who voiced Korg in Thor Ragnarok and Endgame?
That's Taika Waititi, isn't it? The director?
Correct.
Yes, sir. Dude, I'm fired up. Thor: Love and Thunder's coming out.
Is it next year?
He said it was like the best Marvel movie ever.
Yeah, and Christian Bale, I'm pretty sure, is the villain. Like, he's one of the greatest actors I've ever seen. So he's gonna be in a Marvel movie. Like,
just switch sides on him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Is it Taika Waititi? That's how it's pronounced.
I think that's how you say it.
I'm pretty sure he's rumored to be making a Star Wars movie too, like a Star Wars story.
I think they might have confirmed it actually.
Oh, really?
I've heard that too.
Because like he's one of the best like comedy mixed with action, so like that's perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be interesting. But sticking on the
Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's top 3 superhero movie in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely up there for me.
Yeah, staying on the course with movies and Star Wars. This one was like, damn, did I make this a little too hard? How many times has the words "I have a bad feeling about this" been uttered in Star Wars in live action movies? So 11 movies.
I think it's in every one, but I don't know if it's in Rogue One.
I'll tell you this. It's in all 11.
Okay.
But
it's whether they say it more than once, right?
Yeah.
Or does that include The Mandalorian?
No, just the live action movies.
I'm going to say 13.
You're right.
Really?
Yeah, they say it twice in Rogue One, I think, and then they say it twice in Return of the Jedi, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of myself.
I can't believe you got that right. I was
crazy.
like, when I was reading the question, I was like, I feel so bad. Like, this is a hard question. Like, he's not gonna get it. I can't believe
I
you
was about to
got
say,
that.
should we give him like an over/under?
Yeah.
He just nailed it.
Wow. All right. So you're
Okay.
2.5 out of 3.
You can break the record still.
Yeah.
Our
yeah.
record's 4.
4 out of
I
5.
think Alyssa got 4.
Yeah.
So the next question, moving over to baseball, specifically the Blue Jays. Before George Springer signed his 6-year, $150 million deal in the offseason, who had the biggest contract in Blue Jays history? Talking like total value, because obviously annual is a bit.
Is it like, can you give me whether like there was a player in the 2000s or not, or is that too much of a?
I feel like that'd be too
Okay,
much of a.
That's fair. I feel like it's between Bautista Donaldson or like Roberto Alomar. I'm just gonna say Donaldson.
Ooh.
It's
No?
Vernon Wells.
Vernon Wells. He had like.
I'm not great on my Blue Jays stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
I don't know
Literal
when he
definition of mid.
first said that to me, I was like, was it Russell Wilson or not Russell Wilson? Russell Martin.
Russell
But then
Wilson.
I'm like, oh yeah, like Vernon Wells got like 7 years, 126 mil
Yeah.
back when
In
like that wasn't a thing.
2006.
Yeah, like that wasn't a thing back then, and he wasn't even worth that, to be honest.
Jays weren't even good then. What are they doing giving that much money?
I
away?
know it. Alex, oh man, that team, like they were never good, but I always like as a kid thought they were so good. Like I thought Alex Rios was gross. They had Halliday,
Adam
Barnett.
Lind, Aaron
Yeah.
Hill.
Rod Barajas was the catcher. Like I love that team.
Who was their pitcher? Ricky Romero.
Ricky, oh dude, I had a Ricky Romero jersey. Next year, he's out of the league. Like I think he
I
started.
saw
like,
I saw him on Instagram like 2 weeks ago. I was like, damn, I haven't seen this dude in
Yeah.
so long.
I'm pretty sure he had like a documentary come out because he was like extremely down bad after what happened. Like I'm pretty sure he started like 10-0 that last season, and he finished like 10-21.
I remember that he started. Wasn't it like 6? I thought it was like 6-0, but
Yeah,
he
it
had a
was some-
super good start and then just fell off.
Yeah. He was like Cy Young pace and became one of the worst pitchers in baseball. I feel so bad. He was my favorite player besides Halliday growing up. But yeah, fifth and final question. We know you're a Seahawks fan. Can you
I don't
name?
know about my Seahawks trivia, but
It's recent history. Can you name
Okay.
4 of the 5 members of the Legion of Boom?
okay.
Wait, Boom or Doom?
Cam Chancellor,
Boom.
Boom. Okay, good. Cam Chancellor, yeah.
Richard Sherman,
Yes, sir. On the best corner in the
Bobby
game.
Wagner. Oh, not Bobby Wagner, Earl Thomas. Sorry.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
my,
I get that was we've had some
I was
hard
about to
questions
ask
here.
if they were going to do linebackers, but
Yeah.
no, because they're not secondary.
Always the
got 3 out of
fourth dude. It's always
Yeah.
the other corner. That's tough to
Yeah.
do.
You got 3 out of the 4 or out of the 5. There's 2 that you could get.
mm,
You just have to say 1.
I don't know if I can name them.
Ooh.
Brandon
really get into
Browner,
football
Byron
until, like-
Maxwell, right?
Yeah, Byron Maxwell, Brandon Browner. Man, that team was gross.
I love
I
them.
remember playing Madden back then. I played with them every time because I always loved playing defense more. And you rack up the sacks and picks with that team.
For real.
Fun
That
fact:
whole
I became a
defense.
Seahawks fan because like I didn't really follow football, and then I watched them choke away that Super Bowl to the Patriots, and I just felt so bad for them. I've been a Seahawks fan ever since.
That's funny. Man,
Hilarious.
I'm still a big Brady fan. I was so hyped when that happened. Like I genuinely couldn't imagine being a Seahawks fan in that moment. Like the amount of like frustration you have. Like you got one of the greatest running backs in the league, and at that time, and you don't give him the ball.
And there's a big difference because I'm a Falcons fan, so obviously the 28-3 thing happened.
I
So
wonder which was like. That's probably
That's what I was-
debatable. Which one was more?
it's very
heartbreaking.
debatable because like it got to a point where I was like, okay, the Patriots is gonna win. It got to a point where I was like, they're down 8, they have the ball, they're gonna score, they're gonna get the 2-point, and I put my money on the Patriots to win the game after that. But
That
that
was like
all
you
hit.
had it for a second and then lost it, and we were supposed to have it. And
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
never got it.
It all hit you at one time. If you're a Seahawks fan, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Kind of down bad in this chat.
Especially because
23.
I think it was Jermaine Kearse who made that insane
One of the
catch.
most forgotten plays in Super
Yeah.
Bowl history. The bobble catch. It was
That was
a really
crazy.
good play.
I just laughed. Like we got 28-3 here. We got Super Bowl
Should have
blunder,
ran
and
the
then
ball.
0-16 over here. So I mean, we're all looking up.
All
Though. We're
different types
looking
of pain.
up. Yeah. Well, last thing we'll end off on. What do you think about the Seahawks going into this season?
I like us, But I just think there's so many good teams in our division right now. So I think it's all going to depend on whether we get first half of the season Russ or second half of the season Russ.
Yeah.
And whether we get first half of the season defense or second half of the season defense.
Yeah, true. And DK Metcalf too. Like, are we going to see him continue to play well, or is he going to be dropping balls like at the end of the year? Russell Wilson is an early season MVP pick for me. I think I'd go Mahomes, but I like Wilson a lot too.
It was like Russ and the defense just went like this.
Yeah.
My thing with the Seahawks is just like everybody in that division got better. I feel like it's except them. So they're kind of like falling behind. But yeah, in terms of MVP, I'd say Mahomes, maybe Russ, and dark horse Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Going LA.
Big time. I could see Herbert too, honestly. There's a lot of you've seen a lot of the second year player coming in.
Trevor Lawrence and Tim Tebow do together.
I hope Tebow does well. I want to see that story. I feel bad. He's been getting a lot of hate recently.
Guy
it's
just
not necessarily his
puts
fault.
a list of sports on the wall and throws it.
That's
what I'm doing today.
I don't understand. I just don't like how Jacksonville is trying to make the point like, oh, he can help us win. Like, no, Urban Meyer coached him in Florida. Like, that's the reason he got the job. And if you wanted somebody who can contribute, there's
other tight ends.
There's a lot of tight ends who played last year who could help you win. So
get one from the Browns. We got 3.
Just trade for one.
Yeah.
Who's the third one? Hooper, Njoku, and who?
And Thomas Bryant. He got like 4 touchdowns. Like he was honestly maybe the best
Harrison
one.
Bryant?
Or Harrison Bryant. Why did I say? I was like Thomas Bryant plays in the Wizards.
There's a tight end on the Packers that didn't really get a lot of recognition, but they did pretty well.
Yeah, Tunyon. I thought he was a Pro Bowl like
lock, sleeper on my
and he didn't even make it.
Fantasy team.
Yeah. Yeah, this football season is going to be interesting. I think we'll wrap it up here.
Definitely. Thank you, Sam, for coming on today, even in this virtual setting. So it was different, but it was enjoyable. Definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can do an in-person one at some point.
100%.
Definitely. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, comment down below, and we'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.
Well.
Peace.